We want to talk about how race has been used, I think, as a divide and conquer tool, and how race plays itself out in media.
There is a digital archive of blackness that exists that is unprecedented. There are images of blackness that are highly legible to us, right? So if we see a welfare mom, if we see a black man with a basketball, right, we immediately know what that is. And of course, the really good art makers at this point in time, whether we're talking about television or film or even music, have the capacity to take those kind of stock images and offer some complexity to them that gives us a mode of thinking.
I think a lot of our visual culture is essentially for passive consumption. But then there's art, which is entirely about getting into your head and disturbing you greatly. So there's passive consumption where stereotypes have, I think, their most dangerous effect. And then there's active consumption where stereotypes are always going to be slightly disabled. I think films like that should come with a different kind of rating. You know, like R, PG-13. There should be a sort of AR rating, you know, for anti-racist people, or people who are prepared to watch it. Right. You know, who have understood the parameters of the cultural literacy problem. How do you create art for people where the future is questionable? And in fact, if American capitalism has reached the point where millions of people are no longer needed, how do you produce art for that sense of dislocation? The viewer has to be extremely aware of some of these dynamics, because I think if you try to watch things like Precious or The Wire passively, I think then you fall in all the traps.
If you are a young black woman who is dealing with, in that environment, dealing with abuse that you have no other place to talk about, that there is a power to see a film about a young black girl who is being abused that might give you language to express something that we really don't do too well in handling in terms of our community, and certainly is rarely approached in terms of visual media. This respectability issue is something that we have been dealing with since emancipation in this country, about how black people are supposed to be presented. Which black people are eligible to represent the race? Who is supposed to lift us up, and then when we get there, who's gonna like reach down? I'm more interested in developing a sense of literacy about them. Language that is really nuanced about intersectionality and poverty and class and race, that allow us to have conversations that are more productive and fruitful, rather than like, why can't we have positive movies around black people? I meet young people all the time who were like, well, where's the next Malcolm? Where's the next Martin Luther King? Well, if you're looking for someone who is uncomplicated, or necessarily straight, or hyper-masculine, or never had an affair, or never smoked weed, or never had a he's not anywhere. She's not anywhere, because we're not creating a space for people that is real, that allows them to have faults. We want deities, not human beings.
Within the media industry, we have a lot of challenges about, on the one hand, we have respectability within our communities and worries about how we're going to be represented. And certainly within the Latino community around Big Pun, there was a real dislike of Liza Rios, a real distancing that happened, right? And then on the other hand, we have the question of how do we get even into the mainstream media? How do we get our stories told there at all? And when we do, which ones get selected? Who tells them? How do they tell them? Is there any nuance? Is there a character that we can actually believe in there? One of the big issues that I think we face as journalists, trying to cover communities in an honest way, is the fact that there are fewer and fewer people of color in positions of power in newsrooms. And that, in my opinion, has direct consequences as far as the way communities of color are depicted. Being
the only African-American teacher at the time at University of Illinois in art, and actually the first to get tenure in the School of Art and Design in art at that particular institution, I found that it was problematic that people were going through there not thinking about images critically, and not thinking about the context critically. And so the powerful nature of Ntozake Shange's choreo poem was the fact that it talked about beautifully and brilliantly about these ideas around intersectional identities. Think about being a white man and dealing with those images. Think about being someone from Korea dealing with those images and actually never having to deal with those ideas. And think about the visibility of the African American woman in media at the time, and those types of things. And also these ideas around agency. And also at the same time, think about if you are an African American woman in that class, how do you speak about those particular types of issues? And so those particular things become really problematic during and beautifully problematic too, because honestly, I don't think you're learning unless you're uncomfortable.
What's going on tonight? What up, though? My name is Invincible, representing Detroit, and this is Tamar-Kali, representing Brooklyn. We out here sneak preview of the Born in Flames tour. Myself, Tamar-Kali, Jean Grae is going to be here as well tonight. And this tour is basically, it's been a while in the making. We all artists basically bringing together hip-hop, hardcore, and just really good music, period. We happen to be women as well, and we're about to take this tour on the road in the fall. So tonight we're just previewing it for the South by Southwest Festival. How did you all get together to get this idea going?
In the last couple of years, I guess, Jean and Invincible have known each other for a while. I actually got to meet Invincible last year, and we struck up a fast and steady friendship when I went to the D the first time to perform. And ever since then, we've been kicking it, and we really love each other's art. And we were like, why don't we do something together? And, Jean and I, the last couple of years, have been getting to know each other really well. She spit on a remix of one of the tracks from my album, and we just thought we should just take the shenanigans on the road.
Where the fuck is Jean Grae?
Come on! Yeah. We're not just good because we're girls. We're good because we're fucking better than you. All the fucking time.
It's deep. The reason I wanted to tour with Jean and Invincible wasn't necessarily because they're women, it's because they're dope artists. And so that's, somehow it's like being a certain gender will rob you of your right to your artistry. And so there's some of the dopest artists that I know out here right now, and I wanted to roll with them, you know what I'm saying? So in general, just the spirit of Born in Flames is about being born into a situation where there might be adversity in terms of you gaining visibility for what it is that you do, but you do exist, and trying to create a forum or a spotlight for people who are grinding really hard and honing their craft and producing stuff that's definitely worth hearing.
I think I'm going to close this out. I have a fan question for you, Tamar. Let's see. She says, Joe Nubian says hi, and she says to ask, how does it feel to pioneer a new age and aspect of black music? She feels it.
I really wouldn't know, because I feel like I'm following in some pretty set footsteps. And again, it goes back to the fact that reference. People don't have a reference. People didn't get shine. Like, I'm following the footsteps of, Betty Davis. I'm following the footsteps of Nona Hendrix. I'm following the footsteps of Polystyrene. Like, I could give you a lot of names. So I think that folks need to hit that computer a little harder, Google, and try to find some more folks. Because pretty much anything we've done as people on this earth, we've been around for a minute. It's been done in some form or another before, so I wouldn't even be as bold to say that, you know what I'm saying? Because I definitely am standing on, a foundation that's pretty tough. So it's just a matter of educating yourself and having more of a reference.
Any last words, Invincible?
Check out the tour, borninflamestour.com. Get more info about what we working towards and support, spread the word. Beyond anything else, it's going to come down to people just letting everybody in their community know. Go check out these dope artists. We're doing real things. Emergencemedia.org, flamingyooni.com. No doubt.
Alright, y'all, it's your girl Tasty Keish for Society HAE, chilling with Tamar-Kali and Invincible. About to go in there and watch them rock out. We'll see you. South by Southwest 2011.
If y'all want to see tours like Born in Flames reach beyond just this room, but the whole country, worldwide, say keep going. Keep going. If y'all want to keep seeing women in hip-hop, women in all music representing, making our own path, say keep going. If y'all want to keep seeing the music me and Gina's doing, the music Tamar's doing, all these sisters doing, Gina's doing, breaking all genres, breaking all boxes and categories of marketing bullshit, say keep going. Keep going. And on that note,